She reached out. I play an Asian man in a film, and I wanted to know if it was all right. I'm not some kind of Asian notary public.
The human body, it's like a defense in football. You got to take what the defense will give you. And when my body would give me 30 drinks a week, I took it. Hey.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
That's Lucia.
What?
That's Lucia.
Yes. I mean, I accept your word on that.
She's a
Hello,
good girl.
animal.
She's really sweet.
I mean, you're lucky look, see, you know who the animal's friend is. Lifetime Peter board member.
Oh,
Since the 90s.
amazing.
Yeah. I remember when Peter was just like, we'd have the annual gala to raise money, and it was like, 8 people, and like the couple of, James Cromwell was always like the stalwart who was there at the beginning, Pam Anderson. But
Yeah.
now it's like the Oscars.
Right.
It's a real show with lots of star power because, who doesn't like animals?
Well, the big one that I remember was the one where Paul McCartney was there.
Paul McCartney, of course, I'm sure the biggest funder.
Yeah.
I try to do my part, but I can't compete on that level. So what is this dog's name?
This is Lucia Caterina.
Now, why did you name it that?
Well, it's Lucia is light. She's the light of my life.
Really?
Caterina, it's
I can see why you like her. She's adorable.
She's adorable.
Yeah.
She really wants to say hi to you.
I can see.
really
the dog can. You want to be on my lap, animal?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like really
right.
trying to get to you.
I see. Now this looks like an S&M kind of a thing.
It's very badass. It's
Hello,
very
animal.
it's barbed wire. She's very cool.
All right. No, not on the first date. I don't do any. No tongue. All right. I can see. They always want to get that tongue in there, and they're very sneaky about doing it. They're like Ali with the jab. You don't see it coming, and the next thing you know, the tongue is in your mouth.
Oh no.
I know people who kiss their dogs, not to say not in a pervert way. No, nothing weird. They just fucking French kiss it, but they do, and that's it. I mean, I love animals, but that's a bridge too far.
It's a little bit much.
I mean,
it's much, but
it doesn't seem to hurt them though.
She's just very affectionate.
I can see. Does this goes on all day like this?
Mm-mm.
See, that would.
She'll calm down in a second.
She'll calm down, right? Now she's never gonna take a shit on me, right?
No.
Okay, because I'm totally not into that. I mean,
No.
forget about the kissing. I mean, the coprolagia, whatever. Coprophilia.
Coprophagia is when you want to eat it.
When you want to eat it. I don't mess with the naughty place.
And no anal?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Ever?
That's the naughty place.
Is it naughty?
There are reasons. We shouldn't talk about it, but I know you're a sexual, what do you call it? An omnivore?
Omnivore.
You've availed yourself of the entire banquet.
Adventurer.
Right?
Adventurer.
I mean, men, women, farm animals.
Not animals, but I definitely think anal sex is it's a new frontier.
I don't think it's new. I think the Romans were doing it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did it. Look, people will eat anything and fuck anything.
Right.
That is the bottom line on people.
Mm-hmm.
And, anything with a hole, they'll go for it. It doesn't even have to be human. It doesn't have to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Men will stick their dick. I mean, it's odd because the dick for us is like such a delicate part of the body. You'd think you wouldn't put it in a vacuum cleaner, no matter how good you thought that could feel. And yet every year, there are many stories of men who have accidents and lose their penis sometimes through sticking it in appliances. It's just, it blows my mind. But, hey, different strokes, huh?
Mm-mm.
So what's the weirdest thing you ever did? Like, what would you say of all these experiences?
Not ever enjoyed, but did. There was a guy that liked to light my leg on fire. So he would put antibacterial gel on my leg, and then he would light it, and then it would just burn off of my skin. it was like very magician kind of like,
Yes,
that kind of thing.
It is. Well, it sounds exactly like magician.
It's like that kind of feeling, but it was, I think it was related to BDSM, like it was related to
What's
some
that?
kind bondage and discipline,
Domination.
bondage, domination, submission, masochism, that kind of thing.
Right.
But I couldn't find a way to be turned on by it.
But you let it happen.
I let it happen because it was
a few times?
Yeah, because I was like, oh, this is
because other than that, he was a great guy.
everything deserves a good try.
Can I ask what you liked about this guy? Like, what was the compensating factor that made you go, okay, he wants to light my leg on fire, but boy, you get him on the Donbass region, and he is good. I mean,
I liked him. He was handsome. He was a nice man.
Handsome.
He was
shallow, hussy.
Yes, for sure. He was really interested in BDSM, which I am as well. So we met.
Did you meet through that community?
Yeah, we met at a dungeon.
At a dungeon?
And we sparked up a nice conversation, and we sparked up a nice relationship. And then he was very into it, but he didn't have actual sex ever. So that was the thing that turned me off. Like, he never wanted to put penis in vagina. He only wanted to light my leg on fire. He wanted to he was very good with ropes, so he's really good at like putting me up in different positions in the air, which I think is really great. But I just didn't like the performative aspect of it.
But how did he get off? I mean, so when the leg caught on fire, did the dick get hard? Was that it?
I'm presuming.
So I don't need. You're presuming, weren't you there?
Yeah, but I was not able to like touch it or even.
But you couldn't see.
Interface.
I mean,
I was kind of far. I had a blindfold on.
You had a blindfold on. Oh, of course. Sounds like this guy was very ashamed of his cock. He didn't want you to see it.
Maybe, but also maybe like he just was sexual in a different way outside of what we think of as like penis vagina sex.
Yeah, he's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, people are weird sometimes.
Well, in your life, a lot, it seems like.
It's weird.
Take me back to the dungeon, though. You said you met at a dungeon. Is that a specific type of establishment that exists in this world?
Yes.
And it's, okay, and like, if I like went on Yelp.
You could probably find. There's professional spaces that house.
They're permanent places, or like the Halloween store?
They're actually permanent places that are. Sometimes they're often like used for photo shoots, or people will book them, or professional
and
doms
it looks like
will
a
book
dungeon?
them. It looks like kind of like this room, a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you.
This is not that dissimilar from.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I could have it double as a dungeon some night.
You could use it as a.
But it looks more
dungeon.
medieval, like a torture chamber.
Yeah.
Like where if you had like crossed the King of England in 1538, this is where you would be sent.
Right, but it's also kind of got a stoner vibe, so it's a little medieval times.
Like, did it have the manacles on the walls?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Sometimes.
Because that's when you ever picture a guy in a dungeon, very often in a cartoon in the New Yorker, they're always manacled against the wall.
Yes.
You know, and then they have something very, very funny to say that is inappropriate for someone in a dungeon. But I'm sure there were people who really did rot away in dungeons. I mean, oh my God.
The people that wrote, in the whatever. I mean, torture still exists today, but it's like the Middle Ages vision of the dungeon is kind of the aesthetic that all of these dungeons are sort of like, I think, placed in still. You know, it also looks a little bit like a round table pizza.
I once went to a goth something. Oh my God, I always say this, but my memoir will be called Who Was in My Body? Mm-hmm. Because the things I did, not just when I was young, that's what's really kind of sad. It's like, I mean, I was probably 42 when this happened, but I was dating a girl who was like 22, and she was a goth. This was like the 90s. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like a thing.
Yeah.
I remember she had a coffin. By the way, I'm still great friends with her. She's a wonderful human being. love her. I remember she had a coffin purse.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Well, okay. At the time, it was sexy, I guess. And she took me to, I think this was our first date. And I remember it was goth, and people would look, kind of that look. You've trudged sort of onto
course,
the, yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. So, and there was a stage of some sort. I remember being in the back of a room, and there was a guy, and he was splayed out like this on a wheel. And, they would spin around, and they would puncture his body, and blood would come out.
Yes.
And they would collect it, and then others would come and drink it. I mean, this is like when AIDS was still kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, it's still not something you want to get, but we've certainly made great progress with it. But we had not made that kind of progress. This was probably 1998.
That's incredible. That's quite hard. That's hardcore for like playing like that, like blood play in a public space. That's a big deal.
That's commitment to your kink.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's adrenaline too. Like people get off on the pain aspect of it, but it's also the exhibition aspect of it. It's also like this event, this performative thing. So
Right.
I can see why that would be a turn on.
But what do you think led you to, I mean, like of all the hobbies, I mean, you could have played with toy trains. I mean, there's just a myriad of things on this earth that, you could get into. And why this? Because bad childhood stuff?
No, I grew up in a gay bookstore, and so there was so
Really?
much of this already happening.
In the bookstore?
Yeah, my parents
You mean like
owned
above
a gay.
the bookstore?
No, my parents owned a gay bookstore, so I was in the bookstore.
Did they live above the bookstore?
No, but we were in the bookstore all day and all night. Like pretty much became our house in a way. Like we had a place that we didn't live behind it or above it, but we lived.
I think you
there.
should say my family lived above the bookstore, even though it's not true. We live in an age where nobody cares what the truth is anymore, and you can totally embellish.
Yes.
It's just better, Okay,
Yes.
so you're above the bookstore.
Okay.
And you had to work 12 hours a day.
Yes.
Really?
Well, my parents worked 12 hours a day,
What
but
the
I would
Koreans
come in.
call a light work week.
Yes. And I would come in and that would be our babysitter. So there was a lot of drag queens there. There were a lot of people who were getting full body tattoo suits in the late 70s and the 80s. And there was a lot of talk of like leather, BDSM, and it was totally normalized.
Right.
So I just became curious. And then when I was a teenager, I worked at a lesbian S&M collective.
How old?
But 16, 17. And
You worked at a what?
A lesbian BDSM collective where they were making sex toys out of leather.
Collective. That's a vague term to me. What is that?
It's kind of like
club.
It's kind of like it was a store,
A store.
and a club and a warehouse, but also a public space, but also a bookstore, and also
Jesus,
a place for information and a piercing
put
salon.
in the dungeon. You won't have to go anywhere.
Everything. So
that's a collective.
Yeah.
Everything in one. Okay.
everything in one.
So you lived there?
I worked there.
You worked there. Oh, they hire people.
They hired people, and then I would work.
So it's not like a kibbutz. It's not socialism. It's
No, it's
you
just
hire. Yeah.
like
okay.
you hire people. I worked there, and then I was their
What
rep.
was your job?
I was manning their sex store, their sex toy store, and I was also the rep to go to sex parties with all of the toys. So then I would go. Then when I was a little bit older, I would go to the sex parties, and then I would sell everything that we had, like whips
Sex
and all
parties.
that stuff.
So they also had parties. Mm-hmm. And how about the HR department? How does that work at the collective? I want to know.
I'm sure there is one. I don't remember.
I mean, if your whole thing is sex and being weird, that's kind of tough. Well, I just wouldn't envy the person who had to handle those complaints at the HR. It's like, well, you did come here to the dungeon.
It was always very, there was always so much emphasis on consent and so much emphasis on we're only doing things that we want to do. And therefore, when you have that level of consent and understanding and negotiation, you can pretty much do everything. Like there was a wild stuff going on Lots of big group sex scenes, lots of fisting, lots of anal things in the naughty place. A lot of naughty places, lots of naughty places.
But this is all lesbians.
It was pretty much everybody, but the lesbian ethos was like the lesbians.
But there were
ran
men
it.
there.
There were men there.
And trans
women, trans men.
Trans men.
In the earliest
For people born as a woman.
who were transitioning into male
did
bodies.
They have a penis that they were not born with?
Well, they oftentimes take testosterone. Sometimes.
Yeah, but you don't grow a penis.
Well, you grow like a.
I mean, you do if you're around someone attractive. No, but you know what I mean.
But you grow.
You have to actually. I mean,
Yeah.
they actually cut it out of the. They cut the flesh out of the thigh.
Yeah, there's different
Make
surgical things. There's different hormonal things.
And you've seen that.
Yeah, but you also.
How do they look?
They look good.
Really?
They look good. Yeah.
And they're full length.
They're all different. Everybody's different.
I mean, all different. If you're going to get one.
Yeah, it's different.
If you're going to make one, you might as well.
It's like
who purposely makes a small dick?
No, but it's like it's all. You could also wear a strap, which I think is a preference for a lot of people too, to wear a strap on.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a dick.
Yeah, or you wear one that is just your everyday.
Every day.
So that you have.
You wear it even when you're not trying to make romance?
Because in order to really achieve that feeling of your gender, you're going to wear something. I mean, I think that's a really important part of understanding who you are or feeling like you're really there.
Yeah,
I'm not a trans man, so I don't know.
Right. And of course, this issue, this subject is in the news constantly because the younger generation feels it's sort of like the civil rights issue of their time. I feel like I have a centrist view on it. Certainly the liberal part of me fully acknowledges that, the range of what goes on in the human mind with sexuality is broad. That doesn't mean that the vast majority aren't, still heterosexual, male and female. But for whatever percentage that is, that's outside of that, let's say that collectively it's 10. I know it could be more. Everybody could be on the spectrum. I don't think that's true. I never felt very spectrumy myself. I know a lot of people who feel the same way. But like within that category of people who are not just heterosexual, it's just no wonder they need 56 categories on Facebook. It's just so many variations of what, and with the internet now, of course, you can find people who, you could type in any weird, I need a lesbian to pee on me while I play with toy trains. And the 300 people will be great, what kind of train?
Yeah, there's like a lot of that. That's actually very common.
What?
I think that's really,
No.
Yeah.
Fuck me up.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think it's really common.
Playing with toy trains while somebody pees on you?
Yeah, I think so. I think
was just
would.
spitballing
I know. I think I could find that.
I'm saying you could, but I didn't.
There's definitely somebody doing that.
But that's my point. There's probably 3,000 people doing it. And in the old days, you would never have known that there were other 3,000 people in the world. But with the internet,
now you know.
You can be like,
you don't feel alone.
I'm a cat and I shit in a box and there'll be 10,000. What kind of box?
Yeah. It's nice.
It's absolutely.
I love it.
And then there's a part of this which is a little crazy and with children, sometimes too early. America is an outlier here now. I mean, it's a little embarrassing for the people who are all gung-ho on switching up at early ages because the liberal countries in Europe that we always look to for their liberal guidance, they pulled back on this. We're kind of alone out there with sure, cut his dick off. What the heck? What can go wrong?
I don't think people do that though.
No, of course they don't. I'm being facetious, but but America does go full steam on gender switching for children who have not reached puberty. and at a younger age, that puberty blockers and so forth, that again, Sweden, Denmark, the UK, places that were sort of experimenting with this, they have pulled back on this. They've said, you know, we may be doing more damage than good. That is certainly something that is at least worth debating. One problem with the other side of this is they just don't want to talk about it. It's just like, if you don't agree with me 1,000,000% from the get-go, you're a horrible bigot, and it's coming from hate. And it's not coming from hate. It's science, and we should be able to debate it, especially since it's so new and it involves children.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gotta feel better. I got that off my chest.
Good, I'm glad.
No, and it's true. It has the added virtue of being true. But no, I mean, look, maybe my life would have been more interesting if I was not so, you know, regimented in the things that I like to do. But like, I never stopped liking the thing. I've never got married.
Well,
you know, I mean,
that's right. You never got married.
No.
You never. I mean, but you.
Because I like.
You like being single. You like. You like being alone.
I like being alone, and I like other things that go with being single as opposed to being married. It's always a choice that you make.
Right. Right.
I mean, and when you're very often, especially when I was younger, when I was in one of the versions of my life, which was either with a steady girlfriend or single, you'd complain about the parts of the other life you don't have.
Yeah.
You're with a steady girlfriend, it's great, but you're like, oh boy, I wish I could get laid on the road, and I wish I could go to a strip club, and all this stuff. Remember when we went to the strip club in Hawaii?
We had a good time.
Such a good time.
We had a party bus and everything.
We had a party bus, and we went to a strip club in Honolulu. That is such a great memory.
It was so really lovely.
Yes. And
do you still go every New Year's?
You know, I stopped this last year. Was the last year. It became too, it's funny, when I first booked first wanted to do no one would book it.
Oh.
No one. I had to find a promoter. Rick Bartolini, you remember Rick? Great guy. I love him. I'll miss him every year, and a great promoter. And he was the only one who said, I will take a chance on this. But till then, nobody worked Hawaii. Yeah. It was considered a dead territory. And then, you know, we did it enough years, people saw, oh, it's not so dead. And now everybody does it. So it's it's hard to book a comic because they're all working on their own there.
Yeah.
So it kind of was a victim of its own success. But 12 wonderful years with so many great comics. I mean, I wish it would go on just for the sake of the opportunity to spend 4 days with somebody like you who I always liked, but it's like, I'm never gonna, look, you're so busy, you know, you have your life, I have my life. When are we gonna see each other? Probably when we work.
Right.
That's how we all are. I've said that to so many comics who say, I love you, Howie Mandel. I wish I could, but we're not going to. You got your life, I got my life, and you got your close friends, and I got mine. But when we work, we get to do it.
That's right.
You know.
It was really cool.
And you do work every day of the year, don't you?
Pretty much. I don't know who I am without working, you know? I'm sure you know that feeling.
What a thing to say, though. I don't think that's true. I think you know who you are without working. Come on. If you couldn't do stand-up, you'd wither.
Well, if I didn't do stand-up, I would do other things. I'm always doing some putting. I'm like a putterer and a busybody and doing all sorts of things. Always trying to work and trying to see, because I think so much of my identity is wrapped in from doing stand-up comedy, but not just that. It's like when you're a stand-up comic, you're also always working in your mind, in your heart. You're always freaking out about something, thinking about something. So it's like you don't ever stop being on the job.
Well, no, that's not me. I mean, maybe you should try to let that go.
Yeah.
Because that seems imprisoning. I mean, I would not say I'm freaking out. I would not say, and what I would say is my antenna are always up.
Yeah.
For something that would be good in stand-up.
Right.
And, you know, in the old days, I would carry a little pen like this big and a little piece of paper and I have a collection of cocktail napkins.
Yes.
I'm sure this deep, because we all, you know, some people purposely write comics. I never purposely wrote. My method was always no, I'll get high, I'll talk to funny people, funny things will come up.
Yeah.
And if I think of something good, I'll remember it or write it down. I mean, many things I wish I had written down and they wound up on the floor, and there were
Yeah.
probably some good bits there. But I don't find that to be a burden, except for oh boy, I don't want to forget that part. I used to also have a little tape recorder.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Remember when we all had
That's
little tape
great.
recorders when we started out as comics? That we
Yeah.
could tape ourselves and
You
listen.
know who did that was Mitch Hedberg. He always had these tiny cassettes. They were like so small, and he would carry it everywhere.
When I remember in New York, when I was doing an hour set somewhere like Caroline's, this is like the 80s, but I was, new as a headliner, but you do an hour. And the tape those little tapes only lasted a half hour.
Yeah.
So I had to have I had one tape recorder in each pocket.
Oh.
And I had to remember at the half hour mark to turn off the one, or else it would beep.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's so funny.
I mean, I'm like you in the sense I'm a worker,
Yeah.
and I like it. I
Right.
love tinkering with the act. There's no feeling as good as like, oh, I just moved that joke 2 jokes earlier, and the whole thing works 10 times better.
When it makes sense.
It just falls together right. You're always like feeding the audience some information, and then, you have to have them absorb this piece of information before this next piece of information is going to work.
Yeah.
And it's those little things that like can make a bit or a hunk that's good, great. Just moving that around and how it works on the human mind. And it's tinkering. It's building a ship inside of a bottle.
It is getting peed on while playing with a toy train. Like it's that all of the pieces have to work.
I know. But afterwards, I don't smell like pee, Margaret.
You ever get peed on?
You have got to be fucking kidding me. Peed on? No. No.
Do you ever pee on anybody?
No. What? What am I, R. Kelly? Pee on somebody? Why would that bring pleasure to me?
I don't really like it either, but people really like it.
I don't really. People? What people? Weirdos.
Lots of people like it, yeah.
Yes, they do.
Lots of people like it. There must be something to it.
There's even, I can tell you this, in stroke books, Penthouse, stuff like that, I hear from a friend, they sometimes have had, because I've seen it, I heard it from a friend, it's normally just a good stroke book. Okay, it's me. A good stroke book for a man, hot chicks looking like, if somebody doesn't fuck me in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to do it to myself with my pointy shoe. That look in their eye. We're masturbators, that's what we want to see. And sometimes they had a girl peeing. So there must be enough of a market. And I was like, why did you have to show that one? This is not helping my boner, that I'm watching this girl pee. It's pee.
Yeah. But is it like, are you conflating? I think people conflate it or compare it to squirt. Is squirt pee?
Now that's an interesting subject. We'll be right back. No. Is squirt pee? You know what? I was much more happy about my squirt ratio before I found out that there might be pee in it.
I think there's pee in it.
Yeah, I'm slowly coming to that realization, and that's that's not the best news I've ever had, because I just don't think I don't want pee on me.
Yeah.
Now pee, of course, that's a little emotional more than scientific, because pee, of course, is supposed to be sterile. The difference between piss and shit, kids, is, pee is supposed to be completely sterile, no germs. Shit, all germ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is another reason why I don't fuck in the naughty place. Because it's this, that's where it's the sewer of the body. The colon, which is what empties out into the naughty place.
Right.
So the sewer, I don't want to play in the sewer.
Okay.
Does that make me a weirdo?
No.
And it's certainly not anti-gay. It's just my preference. You get to have your preference with the toy trains. I get to have mine.
Some gay people don't have anal sex.
What happened?
Some gay people don't have anal sex.
I'm sure that's true. Of course, that itself is a variation.
Yeah.
What do they have? Like scissoring and...
Yeah, scissoring sometimes. Vibrators, strap-ons.
Fire.
Fire, fingers.
Burning your date.
Fingers are very important.
Did you say to him, I'm sorry, I don't burn on the first date? What is if kissing is first base and the tits are second base and pussy is third base? Where is burning
what
on
is
the
burning
scale?
the leg? We're not sure. We're not sure what game that is.
Yeah, that's 43-man Squamish, I think. Yeah. Club Random is brought to you by the Stash Monkey. Nothing says family fun like keeping your secrets under lock and key. We get it, kids and pets have a habit of turning your house into a treasure hunt for all the wrong reasons. But fear not, because Stash Monkey's here to save the day and your sanity. Stash Monkey is a patented, airtight, and odor-resistant box that's practically the Fort Knox of your personal belongings. We're talking prescription medications, recreational goodies, and anything else you'd rather keep away from prying eyes and curious noses. The dual smell-proof, high-grade silicone seal lid includes a resettable combination lock to secure your items, allowing you to take it with you anywhere. Stash Monkey keeps your items fresh, neutral, and moisture-free because it's water-resistant. Stash Monkey's crafted of the highest quality materials designed to withstand daily use, making it a reliable storage companion for years to come. It's also easy to clean and it's dishwasher safe. I got a Stash Monkey myself and can safely say I feel assured that when I'm away, my dogs won't be partying without me. Make sure an unforeseen tragedy doesn't occur in your household while protecting your prescription meds and other valuables by making the smart move and storing with a Stash Monkey. No kid or pet or pill-hungry granny will be able to get their hands or paws inside a Stash Monkey unless your Rottweiler loves Molly. Through Cyber Week, save up to 30% off Stash Monkey with this exclusive offer. Go to StashMonkey.com and use the code MONKEY. That's StashMonkey.com or text the word MONKEY to 511-511 to save up to 30% off your order, plus receive free shipping. Text MONKEY to 511-511 and place your order today and receive your Stash Monkeys in time for the holidays. Remember to text MONKEY to 511-511 today. Terms, conditions, message, and data rates may apply. Club Random is brought to you by the audio marketing gurus at Radioactive Media. Okay, if you're in charge of a nationwide company, it's time for you to step up your game. In an ever-tightening economy, you need the bang for your marketing buck. Time to try something groundbreaking that will get noticed by utilizing new platforms to acquire customers and partner with shows like mine. You could enjoy lower CPMs, elevating your brand in a space away from your competitors. Generate up to 9 times more leads by combining the power of audio and video channels with text messaging and generate an ROI as high as 5, 6, or 7 to 1. That's a shitload of ROI. Radioactive Media can create campaigns airing nationally on podcasts, terrestrial, satellite, and streaming radio. Club Random has been partnering with Radioactive Media since the beginning with clients such as Signal Wire, Heat Holders, Wine Enthusiast, and more, and they can create a customizable campaign for your company's needs. Radioactive believes so much in the power of audio marketing, they put their money where their mouths are by using it themselves, right here, right now. Their Radioactive Media exclusive Black Friday deal was such a huge success, they're extending it through Cyber Week. All you have to do is lock in your first campaign before year's end. To find out all the details and receive a few Club Random goodies thrown in, go to radioactivemedia.com or text the word RANDOM to 511-511. I'm here to tell you about Dr. Squatch. The traditional soaps just aren't cutting it anymore, all full things of chemicals that are awful for you and your skin. Plus, the scent is so aggressive. There's nothing I hate more than getting into an elevator and having the other person's soap invade my nose like they just had a threesome with a scented candle and a basket of potpourri. My point is, Dr. Squatch is all natural and the scents are incredibly pleasant. Dr. Squatch is different than traditional soaps. They use high-performance natural products, have no harmful ingredients, and have you looking and smelling your best. This is the perfect holiday gift, stocking stuffer, or a treat yourself purchase. Right now, buy 3 soaps and get 3 soaps for free. That's $28 in savings, making each bar just $4. Offer valid for new customers only, and free shipping is included. Right now, Dr. Squatch is offering our listeners huge savings. All new customers will get 3 free bar soaps plus free shipping with any purchase of 3 bars. Just go to drsquatch.com/random to receive this buy 3, get 3 offer. That's drsquatch.com/random to buy 3 soaps and get 3 free. It's time to get all the daily routine essentials you'll need to start feeling good and smelling like a new man today. What's the longest relationship you ever had? Like where it was just a real relationship, just straight up trains and fucking in the ass. And, you know.
Probably 12 years.
12
Yeah.
years?
I was married for 12 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's serious.
Yeah.
Marriage is serious.
It's serious.
I mean, that's when it's really getting serious.
But I don't think I would be married again. I just don't like living with other people. Don't you like living alone? I love living alone.
Yes, I do. Look who you're talking to.
It feels so good.
Oh, yeah. It feels so good. And it doesn't mean you're lonely.
No.
And it doesn't mean, you know, you don't have company sometimes.
Right.
But, you know, but to be always on top of each other, I know there's no way to undo this, especially if you have kids and you want kids.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, you know, tell the kids, oh, mommy and daddy don't want to get sick of each other. So, you know, no, the kids, I mean, I was lucky. I had a stable home. I know you had a rough childhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's so much in life, you know. I mean, I have the deepest admiration for people who overcame that.
Yeah.
Because I did not have to.
Right.
You know, I was lucky with parents and stability. I had a completely leave it to beaver upbringing. I mean, there was no controversies or drugs or, you know, racism, because it was an all-white town in the 1960s, you know?
Yeah.
It was just like, there was no issues.
Right.
You know, not even any divorce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there weren't broken homes. Everybody had mommy and daddy. I mean, I'm telling you, it was like, I feel like I came from the land that time forgot.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like, were we ever that idyllic? And, you know, you're younger than me, so you didn't have that.
No,
But,
and I don't know. I mean, was it like this, there was dysfunction, but it was just invisible, maybe?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, there was all those horrible things. I mean, racism. I mean, it was an all-white town.
So you just didn't
Everybody
see it.
just say, well, you know, I mean, my parents were liberal. To their great credit, at a time when parents either didn't bring this up to the kids at all, because it wasn't an issue, because, you know, civil rights was a political thing and they weren't political, and there's no black people in this town. So they either didn't talk about it with their kids, or they told them the wrong thing.
Right.
America was so racist in the 60s.
Yeah.
My parents took the opposite approach, and they made sure at a very young age we understood when Kennedy sent troops into the South in '63, I was 7.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my father explained that to me. That's a pretty young age to have your father tell you why that was a good thing and why Kennedy was his hero.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, boy, things have changed.
Do you remember what you felt like when Kennedy was shot?
I remember the day. I can still see my mother's look as she walked across the lawn. We were let out of school early, so we thought it was a good thing, you know, out of school. But I didn't quite understand it until I remember I often, I think, walked home, and I remember that day did not, because a car dropped me off, because I remember being in a car, but I do remember it was a car I was not that familiar. And as it pulled up to the house, my mother came out of the front door and walked across the lawn to greet me at the car. And she just had a look on her face that I'd never seen. You know, a serious, downcast, this is the end of the world kind of look. So that's when I knew something was up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we had to write a little essay about it at 7.
Oh, what did you write?
Oh, my father kept it. He adored it. I mean, it was something, you know, it was 7. Like, I remember the last line was something like, and John rode a donkey, or not a donkey, but he had, was there, a horse. There was like a horse that, I don't know. I mean, it was not the kind of punditry that you would expect from me later in life, but it was heartfelt, and I'm sure it reflected his view that, you know, this was a horrible thing, and we had lost a great man, and but that's largely the reason he liked him was civil rights. My parents were classic, old school liberal Democrats.
That's beautiful.
Irish and Jewish.
Yeah.
You know.
That's really beautiful.
I had an Aunt Grace, who was, on the Irish side and voted Republican, and it drove my father fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And she was living on money from Democratic coffers, because, back in that day, the 30s or 40s, the Irish ran everything in the Democratic Party, and her husband was some Paul or somebody, and she was living on Democratic pension money and voting for Nixon. It was so, but yeah, I was lucky. What's your family situation now?
They've never voted. They've never, they don't ever feel like America's their country. They still don't. They've been here since 1963.
Wow.
And they've never participated in the politics. So it's a very, they're very political in Korea, but they've never ever wanted to vote, and they've never wanted to participate, which is, I guess it's understandable. That's kind of their position on it, but they've never felt like welcomed by America in that way. So I think it's sad, actually.
It is.
They never wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, we're all sensitive. I mean, I'm sure they faced things that they should not have had to face.
Well, yeah.
And, people, even slights, and we call them slights because they're slight, could go deep as far as the hurt goes. But I'm sure they faced much more than just slights.
Yeah, the racism, the 60s when they were here was so unbelievable that they just don't talk about it. Like they're really stoic about it, because to make it a conversation topic is to make it more real.
My 1960s Northern New Jersey was the rule back then. Willie Mays, maybe the greatest baseball player ever, had a lot of trouble staying in his home in San Francisco. Your stomping grounds, right?
Yes.
Liberalist place in the world.
Right.
And in the 1960s, they didn't want Willie Mays living in their neighborhood. Okay, if you don't think things have just gone way better, you're just not being realistic.
Yes.
Doesn't mean we're done.
Yes.
But things are just so different.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
And you still have an attachment to San Francisco?
No, my parents moved. They don't live there anymore. I hardly go. I go for shows sometimes, and then I'll go for like Sketchfest, and I'll play music up there sometimes, but very rarely. And after like...
You got no sentimentality for your hometown?
It's so different.
Why?
It's so different.
Oh, the city.
The city is so different.
Why, the shit on the sidewalk?
I think it's...
Perfect for the dungeon. I've solved two problems in one.
All my friends have left or died.
What?
From fentanyl.
Left or died?
They've left or died
of
from
what?
Fentanyl.
Fentanyl?
Yeah.
Why were all your friends on fentanyl?
Like all of us, like arty, queer, weirdo types, all your friends like from childhood, they've all died, or they've moved away because it's too expensive.
No, my friends were Beaver and Wally.
Yeah.
They're not on fentanyl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
So to me, to go back is actually very sad. But I go to play shows, I go to play music sometimes, but yeah, I haven't really spent meaningful time up there because it's either really, really rich people or unhoused people.
So,
the class divide is so enormous.
What is it with the fentanyl? I mean, everybody must know, and I've heard it's in everything.
I think so, yeah.
Like, for the first time I ever heard of it was Prince. Okay, that was 2016.
Yeah.
Never heard of it, I don't think. And then, Prince, he got the good drugs, of course. Rock stars always get the good drugs, and that's why they very often OD.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to curry favor with the rock stars. So the latest, greatest, best, now that's okay if it's pot. Jay-Z's pot is probably the best pot you could ever get.
Oh, you know who had good pot? Killer Mike.
Yes.
We got high on your show.
Yes.
And then we were so high, but it was live. I got so paranoid.
Yeah. Well, Mike and I have shared pot secrets for a long time, and I don't want to say it's a competition, but I think I could I could match up with whatever pot he can come up with.
He's got wonderful weed, but yeah, I'm sure yours is great as well.
I'm trying.
Yeah, not bad.
Well, actually, I'm trying to cut down, but I was never an everyday smoker.
Yeah, you are quite moderate in all of
am.
your habits, though. Like you never really drank, you never really smoked weed.
Oh no, I did drink, but I'm not. But as Sean Penn once said, there's a big difference between a drunk and a heavy drinker. I was a heavy drinker. I say I drank Irishly. It's funny. The human body, it's like a defense in football. You got to take what the defense will give you.
Yeah.
And when my body would give me 30 drinks a week that I could handle, I took it.
Yeah.
And now it gives me, I don't want to push it. I know it gives me 3.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, good for who? I mean, I do miss drinking like a dead friend because it was just fun. And you could again, this is who was in my body era, but you could keep the party going because I guess first of all, there's a lot of sugar in the alcohol.
Yeah.
So you're like a 5-year-old, bouncing off the walls because you've had 8 drinks.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sugar. And then, whatever alcohol does to you. But, if you're young and it gives you plenty of energy, it never made me unenergetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
And pot's an up drug for me too. So
good, yeah.
Together they were like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is so much fun. I mean, it would be nice to be able to do that, to just for one night, go back to that era where you would go to 3 or 4 different places in one night.
Yeah, that to me
seems
is
like-
so, I couldn't.
Right?
That's too much.
It's just way too much. I'm telling you.
That doesn't sound fun even.
No, but it apparently was then.
We do it.
You did it?
We do it, yeah. Remember when that sounds like when there was an improv in Santa Monica.
Right, there was.
Yeah.
That
era.
Yeah, well, young.
Mm-hmm.
We were young. So do you have dates to plug?
I do.
I want to plug them for you. It would be my fucking honor.
I'm on tour with my Live and Livid tour. It's
you
November.
are never not on tour.
I'm always on tour. So I'm in Hawaii, Honolulu, November 30th, and the Royal Oak Music Theater in Royal Oak, Michigan, December 15th, and the Vic Theater in Chicago, December 16th.
I love it that we play some of the same places.
Yeah.
But I take oodles of time off between. Mm-hmm. You do not.
Because I forget how to do it.
No, you don't.
I kind of do.
That's ridiculous.
But I like to just do it.
I mean, you can be rusty.
Yeah, I hate being rusty.
I do too.
Do you do a lot of sets in town?
No. To me, that would be like going back to my high school.
Mm.
And also, I thrive best in a setting where the people have specifically come to see me. Mm-hmm. I'm a kind of specific kind of comedian. I think I could fucking entertain anybody, and you don't even have to be super political.
Yeah.
A lot of my act isn't political, and what's is very graspable, but it's amazing. People, everybody has their taste, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. These days, I'm playing to a more mixed audience politically. Mm-hmm. Like there are conservatives in the audience that never used to be there. I probably lost the woke people, which bothers me not at all. They never had a sense of humor. They're not about that. They're humorless buzzkills and all about purity. It's all the enemy of what comedy is, telling the truth. Mm-hmm. By the way, I often think of that bit you did in Hawaii about who was it, Tilda Swinton?
Oh, yes.
Your yellow phone.
Yes.
What was that?
I can't even remember.
Tilda Swinton was doing something on Broadway.
No, Tilda Swinton emailed me because she played an Asian man in a movie. So she wanted to see if she emailed me to see if it was all right. And I didn't want to open the email because I was like, this is going to open a Wes Anderson virus on my computer. No way. No cookies, only Macron. And but she reached out and she wanted to know, like, I play an Asian man in a film and I wanted to know if it was all right. And I'm like, I'm not some kind of Asian notary public. Like, I can't fucking stamp your shit like, oh, Tilda Swinton #1. Like, I can't make it okay. Like, she wanted to get a pass.
These are the kind of people I just can't stand. Really, the way they, like, every time they want to fight racism so badly, they always find their dumbasses right back where racism actually is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, but it's also like really like this thing where I realize people are just understanding that whitewashing is not okay. Now we're figuring it out, that people like for so long like allowed Asians to not exist in Hollywood. You know, like we're okay like with this idea of like not seeing us, you know, and
But just looking, I mean, if a Martian came down and just watched television, he would not guess that the white people were the majority race, numbers-wise, which I'm not complaining about. I celebrate it. It was too far the other way for too long.
yeah.
But it is amazing how far that's come.
Yeah. Yeah.
And good, turnabout is fair play.
Yeah.
But like, just let's say this is the year we're living in. I think some shows, like you can tell that they checked all the boxes before they even wrote the script. It can go too far. I mean, you know, you do work the smaller clubs, like when you're not, okay, so I don't, but the stories I've heard from comics is a lot of paranoia about if I say something and then somebody in the audience tweets it, because again, this is an audience of like potluck. Comedy clubs, for folks who don't remember or know, that's where we started. And you know, you're saying you're a big star. You play these places. The places you just read off are big theaters, and you make great money. But you go back to the clubs to try stuff out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the clubs are potluck. You know, it's like the people go, and they're not your fan necessarily. They'll be your fans will be there, but it won't be a room full of Margaret Cho fans. It'll be a room full of comedy fans. And oh, Margaret Cho's here tonight. Okay, I love her. Or she's okay, whatever. But mix. So you can't really depend on them to be like behind you. And some of them, of course, in this day and age, it's just about, oh, I can tweet that and get a lot of comments and likes because I'm finding some bad person who said something bad on stage that's unacceptable and doesn't go along with the one true opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some fucking bullshit that thank Jesus, I did not have to live through.
Yeah. That is, well, it's something that I guess it makes you really think hard about, like, everything that you say so much more, you know?
Which is the enemy of comedy.
Right. Right. It's tough.
And have to always be thinking about, oh, is this over the line and going to get tattled on? Well, your job is to be on that line and sometimes to be a little over.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to go over.
Yes.
I mean, then you'll know where it is.
Right.
It's hard, though. It's very hard.
Right, because see, you'll survive it because, you know, you've been around. You're a woman. You're not white, you know. I'm just saying. But like some 25-year-old kid who's starting out and he doesn't, you know, really understand what he's trying to navigate this between what can I say that's funny and edgy. I want to be edgy. I don't want to be a boring comic, but I don't want to get canceled. You know, no one's on his side yet.
Yeah.
So he just goes. Remember that guy who was supposed to be on Saturday Night Live? Now, I don't even know who this person is. I never knew before this story. I don't know after because they canceled him completely. I don't remember his name.
Shane Gillis. He's funny. He's really funny.
Right, Shane Gillis.
Yeah, he's great.
And he did about Asians.
Yeah.
He did some joke, and he was just like, okay, we don't know who you are, and sorry, but it's just easier to just kill you off. I'm sure they got other people waiting to do that show. Do you remember what the joke was, or what the controversy?
I don't know. I met him.
But he is funny.
In a Zoom with Doug Stanhope, who's a good friend of mine. So.
And you say he is funny.
Yeah, he's really funny. Shane is funny.
So what do you think about that?
I think that it's just you find your place, though. You know, you find your way. Like it's.
No, but them can't. But like them just like defenestrating him because he was about to go on SNL.
Yeah.
They went back. I don't think he said it at the time. I think they went back.
Yeah, they
as
look
they
at
often
stuff.
do. Let's go. Let's root through.
Yeah.
What did you say in high school?
Yeah, it's too bad because you know that sort of thing happens all the time now for everyone. You know, you're like if you're very famous too, like people will sort of look back through everything that you've done. It's like this sort of scrutiny culture as well. So it's tough.
But we don't have to like it, do we? We don't have to think it's a good thing, do we?
I don't think we can do anything about it. Like it's kind of like it's just the way that it exists, and also that the internet is kind of forever. So everything that you sort of did in the past is judged by the law of today. That's very tough.
You worry about it?
Well, I think if you are thoughtful as a comic, you should be able to get through it. Like you should be able to wind your way around it. It's more about your skill and a testament to your skill to get through it, I think.
That is one valid way to look at it. I'm not sure I can sign on to that 100%. I get what you're saying. We need to tread the ridge between truth and insult with the skill of a mountain goat.
It's got to be it's got to be really, you have to be really precise in what you're doing. But it's really tough. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that I am not starting out because like, you know, the longer you're around, the more people, you know, if you gather fans and they think, okay, this guy has done some good work. This lady has really been state of the art in stand up and pushing envelopes and stuff. I mean, you. And so, you know, we might give them the benefit of a doubt but when you're starting out, you're just cannon fodder, you know? And I mean, it's funny, I have fond memories of my club days when I was just starting out, but I know they were really rough. I mean,
it was hard in a different way.
I think the first year is like the hardest.
It's so hard.
The first year, right?
It's so hard because you're like, what am I even doing?
What are you doing? And it's not going well, of course.
And then you try to be somebody else. You're trying to act like somebody else.
You're fumbling around for a persona.
For identity. So I was going to try to be Paula Poundstone, who is the best. Paula
Poundstone is a great comic.
The best.
Yes.
Oh, so funny. So, you know, I thought, I'm going to be her. I'll be like, you know, I'm trying to figure out who I'm going to, I'll be like Judy Tenuta. I'm going to be like, you know.
Another good comic.
Also great,
yeah.
You know. But the new people now are so, I don't know, like they give me a lot of excitement around what's happening.
See, I'm so divorced from that whole scene. It's fun, and they're
so fun, especially the Asian people like Sabrina Wu and Jenny Yang and Atsuko Okatsuka, and it's like they're just geniuses. Sherry Cola, and there's so many wonderful. Ali Wong, amazing. Bowen Yang, who is also in SNL.
Yeah.
So many amazing.
He's great.
Joel Kim Booster, beautiful. They're not starting out because they've been around for a few years, but they're so young and they're so ready. So that's what makes me really excited about comedy.
And so you'd be happy just like doing this right till you drop dead?
Yeah, for sure.
And like other things will come along and you'll do other projects, but
I want to do stand-up for...
Right, till you drop.
Yeah, for life, yeah, for sure. I mean, that to me is the goal. I mean, I would love to do more TV and movies and things like that, but I love stand-up.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I
Don't you think you'll always do it?
I mean, it's been 40 years, so, you know, I feel like if I was going to drop it, I would have done it by now.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. I mean, look, age hasn't really caught up to me yet, but, you know, I'm not immortal, although AI, I tell you, we have a guy on Real Time Friday we were talking about AI, so I've been reading about AI all week. Do you know how fucking scary this shit is? I don't even think you do.
I don't. I mean, I know a little bit about it, but
it's like we're already probably, the cat is so out of the bag. And it, like, the way it's moving, it moves exponentially. I mean, it's like every science fiction movie where the alien gets on the plane, I mean, the spaceship, and they're like, you know, Captain, it's learning at an alarming rate.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, get those things that shoot fire, that'll kill this brilliant. But this is like, I mean, I don't know. We could not make it to Christmas. I mean, Musk, he's cuckoo about a lot of shit, but boy, he hit it. He was right about this before anybody. He was the one saying AI, existential threat, this could wipe out humanity. I mean, it's scary.
Yeah.
And they don't understand it. And it's already past where we understand why and what it's doing.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes it hallucinates, just makes up shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're really close to, I can't do that, Dave. And then what?
What do we do?
It's too late. I don't know. But I don't want to live in that world. I mean, there's a lot of this world with everything on screens I don't want to live with.
Yeah, it's true.
Are you you're not like a phone addicted, are you? You're not.
I am pretty much. I have an intense relationship with it that I'm trying to get away from screens, you know, with
Really?
like.
So you're on it all day? Like you look at, what are you looking on?
I think TikTok. TikTok is really
TikTok.
all encompassing, yeah. TikTok is really, it's.
I only get dogs.
I love everything. I do a lot of fashion, a lot of gay stuff, a lot of sex stuff, a lot of food, and then
So
news.
are you talking about your own TikTok presence?
My feed, yeah, my feed. I mean, just watching it, and I'll put a little bit of content out there, but it's mostly like I'm just watching it.
Boy.
So it's quite. I mean, I try to lengthen my attention span by watching movies in between looking at TikTok. So I'll like put it down and then watch a David Lean film. You know, like I'll put it down and I'll watch Great Expectations.
All the way through?
All the way through. Like I'm going to watch Paths of Glory today because I spent a lot of time on TikTok.
I think I'm crazy, but I almost never watch a movie. If I went to the theater, I would, but at home, all the way through. And people say, how can you do it? I said, do you read a book all at once? You read 2 chapters and you put it down.
Right.
And you read 2 more the next night.
Yeah.
You know, I'm making my way through Mission Impossible now.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it, but I don't have to swallow it all at once.
No, you can watch it at your pace.
Yeah. So, well, I hope you're happy.
I am happy.
You are? You feel like this is a good time of your life?
Yes,
you
the
look,
best
You know
time.
what? I see it in your face.
Yeah.
You look very at ease.
I
am. And in a happy place, more than you were in Hawaii.
Yes, very much so. I'm feeling very good.
I feel like when you were in Hawaii, were you coming out of an unsober period or something?
Yes. Well, I was not sober for a long time, and then when I was in Hawaii, I was sober, and now I've been sober since then.
Right. But
So I'm doing
like,
good.
I remember you were like, oh, everyone's partying, and you didn't want to like,
No,
be tempted and stuff.
No.
Yeah.
but I feel very good.
So you're completely sober.
Yep.
Boy, that must suck.
No.
No, I'm kidding. Not
It's
really.
well, I did so much drugs that it feels like I'm high now when I'm sober. Because when you do that much drugs, then because I'm like I overdo things.
See, that's the thing you said before. I do things in moderation, or I try. You know, I did drink like an Irishman for too long, but it never tipped over into like, affecting my. I mean, obviously, could my career have gone better? Yes, because I probably was like a drunken idiot at parties in 1997, like pissed off half the press or something.
No.
But you got to live your life in the stages you live it at. You know, it's silly to look back and be like, oh boy, I'm brooding about what yeah, you were dumber. You weren't the person you would become. You know, I mean, for men that happens much later. I feel like we mature much slower. And
Yeah.
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Good.
All right. Well, I love seeing you.
I love to see you.
I am so flattered you'd come here and stop. I know you're busy and doing a million things, and so I hope I don't always have to work when I see you, but if so be it, we should work together on
We
something.
should.
All
I would
right.
love that.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
Okay.
Club Random.
Oh, the dog. I forgot about the dog.
Remember her?
You are so well behaved.
She's incredible.
Club Random.